I was petrified of any form of public speaking when I was a kid. I'm very introverted. I have to fake being extroverted. But when there was something I was really excited about, then that didn't come across, and the students picked up on that as well. So when I was having fun, my students were interested, motivated. They would get swept up in what I was talking about.
I am really excited to talk about this next strategy. It is called One Fun Thing. And I was joking with you before we started recording that this right now is my one fun thing. So tell us what it is. Where did it come from?
Yeah, so I was petrified of any form of public speaking when I was a kid. I'm very introverted. I have to fake being extroverted. And I knew I liked explaining things to other people growing up, but I hated being in front of a group. And so the first time I TA'd was just a nightmare, being in front of 24 students in a laboratory section and having to talk to them about things for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, something like that. And over time in that, and then especially when I became a lecturer for the first time, I started realizing that first, when I was nervous, the students picked it up. It's like being in one of those middle school or high school plays where the person up in front is just dying of embarrassment and all of us are sort of cringing in our seats. But when there was something I was really excited about, then that didn't come across, and the students picked up on that as well. So when I was having fun, my students were interested, motivated. They would get swept up in what I was talking about. And so the small change for me was to realize, I want to find one fun thing to embed somewhere in the session just for me. It didn't have to have anything of use to the students. And that small change just made me much more interested in teaching. It distracted me from my nervousness because I was looking forward to getting to do this one thing, show them the object or talk about whatever it was. Those one fun things were sometimes just a fact that I found really cool or exciting, not necessary for instruction on that day, but just I like thinking about it. Sometimes they're one-liner jokes, usually dad joke quality or really bad puns, and I just enjoy them, and I don't care when the students don't laugh, or what I get is, like in a class of 120, I hear a few, or, huh. And in fact, I even joke with the students sometimes about the fact, yeah, that joke wasn't for you, that was for me. Sometimes they're an image of me doing something related to what we're talking about, or they're a crazy application of some content that is just silly. It illustrates a really silly use of that particular concept. It can be a thing I brought to class, hot chili pepper that I eat at the appropriate moment when I'm talking about plant secondary compounds, although you could also use it in classes related to culture and cuisine and all sorts of other things.
How did that go over when you did that?
The students loved it. So I brought, on that particular day, I brought actually a bag of hot chili peppers from my garden. I passed it around and I said, unless you're used to hot food, these are really, really hot, so just look at them. But they're all there. If anybody feels like they have to take out a pepper and try it, they can. And then when I was talking about plant secondary compounds and how they were aversive stimuli, and so animals avoid these nasty plant secondary compounds, and I took out this chili and I chewed it up and I swallowed. And it was really hot. And for a few minutes, mostly what I could think about was how hot it was. And so, but I had my notes, so I was still able to use my notes, even though I couldn't really think about it. And then my students were bemused, I would say.
Concerned?
Some were entertained. Concerned would be a part of it, yeah.
How big was your reaction? Did you have the tears streaming, red face?
I'm pretty sure my face turned red.
Okay.
My eyes were definitely watering. And then about 4 or 5 minutes on, when I was sort of sounding normal again, I said, my mouth is just on fire. I'd really love some water right now. And then just kept talking. And the student reaction was not the point. Mm-hmm. They tend to react at least not negatively, to the things that I do. But that's not the point. I'm amused by putting myself in that really crazy situation with something I can barely tolerate and still keep going. And it's just an interesting thing in a lecture. And if you're worried about nervousness in front of a class as compared to a fiery pepper burning your mouth and throat, the nervousness just doesn't last. The fiery pepper is all you can think about. And that turns out to be better. When you think about the people who say, I would rather die than do public speaking. Well, this isn't quite dying, but there are times when you feel like it's getting close.
Yeah.
So that one went over well.
Did any students take you up on the offer?
Oh, yeah. There are always
wow.
some.
Okay.
Most of them are ones who already like chili peppers. But there's a
Okay.
few who go, oh, my professor did it. I should be able to do it. I've done others, a sheet of paper that I rip in half that's related to what I'm talking about. And it's just an example of a chemical process that I really like giving because it's real. And I do it while I'm contorting myself into a really odd shape, mimicking a protein that is doing an enzymatic reaction to break one molecule into two. Highly entertaining for me. Students are amused when I do it. Sometimes it's a found object that I pass around the class. Sometimes it's a relevant brief story. Some have been funny. Some are really sad. Some are just ironic. Doesn't matter. It's just something connected to what I'm doing that is fun. The outcome of that is, when I'm anticipating it, I'm more animated and excited. After I've done it, there's a residual carryover of, oh, I just did that fun thing, and it lasts. I originally did it solely to reduce my nervousness. But what I discovered was the student response was they were more energized and engaged because of me. And I'm pretty sure I understand a lot of the reason, at least. We're social primates. We are accustomed to being in groups and paying attention to what all our group members are doing. And when other group members are excited, we're looking around going, that one is really excited. Maybe there's stuff for me excited about, and we pick up on it. Sports, all of those things, you can just see a crowd feed on other individuals and on itself. And it works the same way in teaching. There are books about it. The one fun thing is a really easy way to engage that and to get other people picking up on your own excitement and your own enjoyment of what you're doing. It helps me look forward to class sessions. It helps me enjoy what I do. It's easy to burn out as a teacher. There's been so many times where I just feel overwhelmed and burnt out and struggling to do this thing one more time. But if there's one fun thing in there, there's something I'm looking forward to and excited about.
So we hope you feel inspired to go out and change one thing in your teaching, and we want to hear from you. So please email us at stli@wm.edu. That's STLI@wm.edu if you would like to make an appearance here in Studio 36 or virtually in our virtual podcasting studio.